Speaking of heat, as our area continues to heat up, as Justin just mentioned, it is crucial to be prepared. With a growing number of people moving to Houston, right, our city's always growing, many might not be familiar with how dangerous our heat can be. Joining us this morning to share essential tips to stay safe during this extreme heat is Cy-Fair Fire Department's Assistant Chief Justin Reed and Paramedic Meredith Frasier. Good morning to you both. Thank you so much for coming in and having this conversation with us. Hopefully it pays off, especially with all the events happening this weekend. You guys see firsthand the effects, the impacts this heat has on our community. Talk to us about what it is you see.
No, for sure. I mean, a lot of times these can become planned mass casualty events as as they set up and as the forecast shows. And it's one of the things that now FEMA's even looking at is because, you know, heat-related deaths, right, actually more than double what you get out of hurricanes, flooding, and tornadoes, all other natural disasters combined. So it's definitely something that we have to plan for, prepare for, lean on the weather to understand it, and make sure that we can communicate that safety message.
That's really great perspective. Talk to us about what people can do to prepare for these temps we just saw.
So some of the things you can do to prepare, obviously staying hydrated, drinking water before you're thirsty.
Water
Before you're thirsty.
Emphasis on H2O here.
Yes, and one of the easiest ways to know if you're drinking enough water is to kind of monitor your urine. You need to make sure you are actually, you know, peeing on a regular basis and that it is a clear color, right? So darker urine can be a sign that you need to be drinking more water. You can also plan ahead, you know, trying to not be out in the middle of the city in the middle of the day, staying out of that 2 o'clock heat, planning events for morning or evening when you can. And if you can't, taking a day off to kind of rest.
Yeah. Rest is really important. Somebody once told me too, something to do with the elasticity in your skin. I don't know if now you're shaking.
Yes.
Okay.
But so what it is essentially see if it can tint, right? And then make sure that you want your skin to go back. That's kind of like, go to our website. We have the urine chart that's on there. It sounds super silly, but how do you tell a kid?
Right here's the urine chart you're talking about.
How do you tell a kid how to say, just ask them, what does your pee look like? Did it match this color? Perfect, that's what I need to know. Even when they're sick, right? You need to make sure that you're staying hydrated. So it works in a lot of different ways. It's kind of weird to talk about, but the skin thing absolutely is a thing, but for most people, just follow the urine chart.
This is an easier way to do that. Okay, talk to us about what you should do. You recognize, oh man, I do in fact have heat exposure. What should I do at this point?
I think number one thing is cool off however you can. So let's just, obviously it's intuitive. Go inside, get into a nice cold shower, things like that. But what happens when you can't? You'll see a lot of times people will take their water bottle, right, and they'll just dump it straight on their head. It's the worst thing you can do. You just essentially, especially in Houston, right? Remember, heat's different wherever you are, but with the humidity that we have, you just created a heat blanket.
Oh no.
So what you want is fine mist. You know, we've got these different things here that actually mist and blow. And so what you're doing is by creating that fine mist, those little bitty particles are gonna grab heat off of your body and then blow it away. Whereas when you just dump it on yourself, that's where you've created that blanket, and it just you can't convective cool, right? There's no evaporative cooling that's going to take place because you now have a heat blanket. So it's these, I mean, you're like, what is that actually going to do? It can actually do a lot.
Okay, that's some good information. These things, I'm not sure I've ever seen these before.
So these are super cool. If you come to one of our events that you can see on our social media, we give these out. These are cooling towels. Again, super simple. It doesn't have to be this fancy one, but any of them, soak it in water, ice water, whatever it is, and when it gets warm, just spin it like that, and that right there will actually cool it down, put it on, and it'll start pulling off more heat.
Okay, really good tips. Any other suggestions?
Kind of know the symptoms of what to look out for some of our heat illnesses, right? So if you are heavy sweating, like profuse drenched sweating, if you are confused, nauseous, if you feel like your heart is beating quickly, those are the times when you should call for help.
Yeah. Don't try to be Superman. Don't underestimate what's going on. Yeah.
Know your limits know what it feels like when you're going to be hitting your limits, because we've been saying it all morning, right?
Yeah.
Heat in Houston is different.
It is different.
And so you might reach those limits sooner than you think, even if you're experienced in the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a transplant here, right? We say it. We know it. That heat is different. If this is your first summer here, please be cautious, because it's not what you're used to. There's a reason why we say it's brutal, and you'll live it.
Don't be a tough guy. I come to Houston. I've been here for about 3 years now, and I came from Florida. But it's still different. Humid, yes, but it's different because you have the air movement from the water. Whereas here in Houston, I feel like it's like a little bowl. And it just hits different.
That's why we talk about the importance of things like this, because it's that lack of airflow. That's how our body's cool. Our body's cool is it sweats, and then as air flows across, it grabs and it's taking that heat with it. But it's just a swamp here, right? And it just sticks on you.
But better you saying it than me.
There's an urban heat bubble that can happen.
There you
with
go.
The amount
so
concrete, the buildings, all of those things trap heat. And so since we're in the city, that heat's really not going anywhere, and it's continuing to come
radiating off
from
the
our
ground.
pavements. Yes. So whereas some more rural areas, you get that airflow and you don't have that trapped heat.
Yeah. Okay, this has been really great information. Justin and Meredith, thank you. You're not going anywhere. Hopefully you stick around, because coming up after the break, they're going to share with us how we can nourish our bodies during this extreme heat. Welcome back. We're here with Justin and Meredith from Cy-Fair Fire Department. We're talking about the extreme heat that we are dealing with at the moment. We just got done discussing what to do, how to recognize that heat exposure, knowing that most situations are preventable. Now we're going to talk about the importance of eating for the heat. Eating your H2O. So talk to us about, oftentimes we think of like having to guzzle water or electrolytes, but you can also do this with your food.
Yes. So eating snacks like watermelon, cucumber, getting electrolytes through coconut water, other things like that are great ways to get that extra fluid into your body.
Citrus fruits, oranges, grapefruits, leafy greens. We're talking about lettuce, spinach, kale, arugula, and then of course, don't forget berries and tomatoes. This all can go a long way. Again, I remember when we were talking about this might have been on one of my first summers here, not knowing Texas heat, and we were having a conversation about, eating your H2O, and there's a way to prepare for this in addition to making sure you're staying hydrated with water. Talk to us about the importance of having a balanced meal.
Yes, balanced meals. What you want to avoid is fast food, things that are crazy high in salt. And it's easy to say like, we'll avoid this, but it's just replace it with other things. So instead of just running through the fast food line because you want to drink, and then you're going to get all these salty foods that are going to dehydrate you. Add in my favorite, my two little kids, frozen grapes.
Oh yeah,
they're cheap. Get them from the grocery store, wash them, throw them in the freezer, and then you can even bag them up individually and give it to them, and that'll help get that. Again, we talk about the hydrating foods in on top of everything else, because life's going to happen and you're not going to be able to eat that perfect meal, but trying to find a way.
Yeah, and even if again, if you're not able to make that for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, preparing those snacks can go a long way.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's really good. Natural electrolytes.
Coconut water. Some of the things that we talked about a little bit with the hydrating foods are great ways to get those electrolytes.
Bananas?
Also, bananas with the potassium.
Oh, wow.
And then getting magnesium from seeds and nuts. Just little things that you can throw in quickly that also don't melt or go bad when you're running around Houston in the summer.
This is really fascinating, because I would never have thought bananas and nuts and seeds would be on this list.
Well, think about your granola bars that will melt.
Right.
Even a granola bar will melt in your car. Like Meredith was saying, it's a better way, and that's getting you those natural without all the other sugars that are in a lot of these products. That sugars also dehydrate you when they're the processed sugars, like in some drinks.
And that includes, I was just going to say, sodas, right? You see a bunch of Houstonians, Texans walking around with their, we're not going to say any brands, but those giant styrofoam, fountain drink cups filled with all those sugary drinks. No bueno.
Yeah. So our drinks are bigger in Texas too, right? But finding ways to, add in those replenishing fluids.
Yeah.
We're not saying you can't have any soda all summer long, right?
Yeah.
But
Find the
balance. Balance is key.
Everything.
And challenge yourself, right? We have this, my brother and I were having this conversation with our mother. She loves her, I think it's like Pepsi Max. And we're like, Mom, just try like water or do like, an alternative. Just even if it's swapping out one.
Start somewhere.
Start somewhere.
Right? It's better than what you did the day before.
Exactly.
It's just one. Right?
Yeah,
That's
progress.
how it starts.
And being aware and being cognizant. Well, we so much appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, a lot of these incidents that we see, you see firsthand, can be preventable and so prevented. And so just being cognizant and aware, if you know you're going to be out and about, stay hydrated. Give yourself some love and take it easy out there. Don't go 100 miles per hour.
Just like me, be a fan of fans.
There you go. I love that. Justin and Meredith, thank you very much for coming in. We do appreciate it.